How did you feel about when you learned that you were going to be a captain and not a coach? I mean, you always want to be a captain, right?
It didn't ever occur to me until they assigned us according to our ability.
Yeah.
So I had no idea that they just didn't pick you at random. The instructors rated us all the pilots going through were rated, and according to that you were selected to be for different kinds of skills other than flying too.
Right. Did you? That had made you feel pretty proud that you.
Yeah.
Were...
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, because they all looked up to me and realized that we were a group together. We were a crew, and that we worked together.
Yeah. And then you trained for quite a while, flying all over the U.S.
Well, yeah, they wanted us to get Now, I don't know if this happened to everybody, but my crew and I were selected to fly all over, and stay overnight in hotels, not the field, just stay overnight, and go to different airfields and be at a different one every night. And all we had to do was send a telegram in, RON, Boise Hotel, or whatever it happened to be. And next destination, like for example, let's say next destination is El Paso, Texas. So we're going there, we just go in and we book ourselves in and send another RON. We did this for 2 weeks going around like that until then we got to Kansas City. No, then we got to Enid, Oklahoma. That was the final group. And there, we had an inkling that we were kind of special because we were flying all over, and there were no restrictions. Just go and fly, navigational. It wasn't until December when we were sent to West Palm Beach that we discovered that we were to be one of the guinea pigs to fly the South American route. That's why they wanted us to have all that experience out there for our navigator as well as me. So when we were in West Palm Beach on December 26th or 27th and got the orders we're going to go at 10 o'clock at night, and we're under sealed orders. We had no idea where we were going except that we had a heading, 165 degrees, which is like southeast. And so we just took off at 10 o'clock. And at 11 o'clock we were going to be able to open the orders to see where they said us. Well, we're all there anxious, and we had a full colonel with us who was riding with us to check the route too. And he was to become the operations officer for the 12th Air Force. He was on his way over to take over the 12th Air Force operations. And he wanted to see what this route was. His name was Colonel Dahl, and he was a very nice man, and I used to see a lot of him because every weekend when we had something off or a day off, I was close enough, I'd go into Constantine or wherever, Imalila, wherever he was, and just say, hello, how are you? And he'd have lunch together, and then I'd go back. But he was a very nice fellow. He was later was promoted to general of the 12th Air Force. So we had a lot of experience doing, and he was interested in finding out all these things that we had to do. And if other crews would have trouble doing it, or that type of thing. So like landing on mats, we'd never landed on iron mats before, and grass landings, and then our abilities to withstand heat, and our abilities to withstand insects and insect bites, and our ability to communicate was all factors that we had to be judged on as to whether this would be a primary trail for other B-17s to get to Africa rather than going to England and then down out of Spain. So that's why they sent us this way. They sent quite a few over, but I don't think it ever became a real.
Right.
The main thrust in May, after the Germans surrendered in Africa, in May was up through Italy and into the back door of Germany. And we flew lots of missions, clear up over Brenner Pass to make that, stop that escape route.
Right. So yours was the first B-17 to take this route?
No, there was another one, but I never caught up with him, so I don't know who it was.
So there was just 2 planes?
Yeah.
On the original
mission? Yeah. Well, we had great times, you know. I probably mentioned to you that on that flight we were serenaded by a Negro band in Nigeria. No, it wasn't. Yeah, Nigeria. Yeah, and they marched up and down the mats celebrating with us. Want to know if we don't want to go on a monkey hunt and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so they were very congenial. And then we went to Marrakesh. And on the way to Marrakesh, we flew over Spanish territory. And I think I told you, all these white puffs of smoke around us. They were firing at us to get out of our range.
Right.
And then we landed at Marrakesh, and they celebrated us by having a basketball game. I think I told you about the basketball game. And the big feat afterwards, just wine and cheeses and breads and everything like that. And it was a marvelous thing. Got kissed by the general.
Yeah.
And then we flew to Oran, and Oran stayed overnight. I got the plane painted with the Eager Beaver on it.
Right. Tell me about that when you met the guy and what he said about the art, and just tell me about how that kind of happened.
Oh well.
Oh, just a second, Jerry. I'm gonna. Do you mind put your hand down? Just I want to make sure it doesn't block the mic. Maybe just.
Okay.
Go ahead. Tell me about that.
Well, when we got to Oran, we were going to be there overnight, and this mechanic came up to me and asked me if we wanted our nose painted, and I said, I'm thinking about a clown. No. Well, no, I mean on the ship. And he says, we'll do it for $20, and you can. I said, well, money over here isn't very much, so go ahead. When he said, what do you want? I said, I want a beaver with a bomb in one hand and a gun in the other. And I said, so I'm standing there ready to kill anything around it. Okay, it was beautiful. It really was. And he painted on it the Eager Beaver. And so
was everybody happy with the name?
Oh yeah, everybody. Well, they really didn't care about it because they had no particular thing.
Yeah. Who paid him the $20?
Yep.
You paid him?
Yeah. I paid him in African currency. I think it was francs at that time. It was francs. $20 in francs was about 90 francs. 100 francs was 25. So I think I just gave him whatever he asked for.
Yeah. So tell me about the first mission. I mean, what were your thoughts? I mean, you've been training a long time, and
no, we haven't been training as such. We'd had a lot of formation flying, and so when we got to assigned to the 401st group or the 301st group, I went to my squadron commander and I says, well, now, what do we do? He says, you're going to start flying formation until we think you're ready. And I said, okay. So we started flying about 2 days after I was there, in morning and afternoon, formation flying. Soft curves, tight curves, elevations, decreasing elevations, and changing directions at the same time, making sweeping curves, so that we begin to understand, that you just don't turn it. You have to gradually do it because you got about 6 planes behind you that have to turn inside your circle. You just turn, and if you turn too sharp, they're going to crop, bam, 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 right? So you have to very gradually turn. Anyway, we learned all about that, and I anxiously awaited my first mission. I got the call. Got in the plane with this major who was a friend of mine. He says, you're going to fly my crew. went, but he flew the plane, and I flew as co-pilot. My co-pilot sat back in the back, or was riding in back of me, but the only thing he didn't have was any protections, so he decided he'd just ride in the radio room where the floor at least had some protection. So our first mission was a major ground attack that we overran our own troops and bombed our troops rather than the Germans. The Germans pulled back and our troops moved forward right into the drop zone. And that was a major disaster. And we came back and we had nothing we could do. We had no communication, nothing was happening. But we found out that we had disrupted a major offensive. Our group had, our group was like 60 bombers. And so that was kind of upsetting to everybody. And from then on, we didn't fly any close support for our ground troops. We did long-range bombing of harbors, military institutions, and supply depots. The main one being a place called Burzirdi. It's up on the north coast of Africa, of Tunis, actually Tunis, right on the north tip of Tunis. And it was a major seaport for the Germans' supplies, stockpile supplies for all of the rest of through Libya. They're down through Libya for the Germans. So that was they had more guns up there than we could ever imagine. We were walking on a cloud. I mean, we were flying on a cloud. It was just black smoke from puffs. And so a few of us got banged up a little bit, but nobody was knocked down.